Call the meeting to order at 5:31. We need to make 2 changes to the agenda. So on item 8I and 8N, we need to change the wording from approval to ratification. So 8I will be ratification of Dax Entertainment sales order for Rancho Cotati High School prom. And 8N will be ratification of 2022-2023 audit report. All right. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will now convene to closed session. We will call the meeting back to order at 6:11. All right, report of action taken in closed session. Can I get a motion to approve case number 2223-02-SD?
All motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Roll call?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing.
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve case number 2223-06-SD? Move. Can I get a second?
All second.
Roll call?
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson, Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing.
Yes. All right. Next, I would like to invite our students up to do the flag salute with Thad and Theo from Monte Vista and Lawrence Jones.
Please stand for the pledge. Put your right hand over your heart. Begin. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Needed.
All right. Next, we have special recognitions and presentations. I'd like to invite Scott McCain up for Athletic Insights.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak to everyone tonight. I'm honored to give this presentation for many reasons. The first reason is over the past 9 years combined, I've actually worked as the athletic director and for 3 of those years, and for 7 of those years, I was the athletic director at Rancho Cotati High School and 3 of those years at Technology High School. The second reason is I'm also a former athlete of CRPUSD, specifically at Creekside, which is now Lawrence Jones. I played basketball and track and field, and at Rancho, I played football and soccer. So I'm happy to share the importance of extracurriculars in an academic program and the importance of that combined word student athlete. I'd also like this time to recognize all the unsung heroes that are working behind the scenes of an athletic program, the parents driving to games, the custodians and maintenance staff setting up and ensuring facilities are safe and playable, the booster program volunteers, and many more. None of it happens without the unwavering support of these individuals, and I would like to thank them. The presentation objectives are listed, so we're going to be looking at some sport offerings at the secondary level in CRPUSD. We're going to look at some student-athlete participation data that I've compiled from the 5 different sites that offer athletics at the secondary level. We're going to highlight some achievements and star athletes that the 4 respective athletic directors at those 5 schools have sent me, which we're going to highlight. We're also going to be talking about the new addition of our athletic trainer at Rancho Cotati High School and Technology High School, Aaron Stovall. And the last thing we're going to be talking about is the continued support of the board in terms of how they can support athletics moving into future school years. Athletics is currently offered at 5 different secondary schools at CRPUSD. The list is Rancho Cotati High School, Technology High School, Lawrence E. Jones Middle School, Technology Middle School, and Thomas Page Academy, with the important note that athletics is only offered to grades 6 through 8 at TPA. I'd also like to recognize the rest of the athletic directors at these schools, specifically Mark Meinhofer at Technology High School, Tressa Bronner at Technology Middle School, Christy Kirsten at Lawrence Jones Middle School, and Catherine Prieb at TPA. It's really a partnership between all these schools, and we really work interdependently with each other. There was a conflict in which Rancho couldn't host a home basketball game, and Lawrence Jones allowed us to host it there. We host Lawrence Jones, Tech Middle School, and Tech High at our synthetic track at Rancho. And then Rancho and Tech High also share facilities along with Tech High and Tech Middle School. So it's a lot of collaboration and partnership between these 5 schools. And so I want to make sure they get their due credit on not only giving me this information, but the partnership that we've navigated together. Here are some sport offerings for each school site. So basically it's broken down by season of sport. Fall sports are listed first, and on the level are listed on the right. So sports are typically determined by what is the sport being offered. So we would count boys and girls swimming as the same sport. When I put parentheses for teams, those are actually independent teams competing at a specific level. So for instance, when you have track and field, you have individuals that are competing at the JV and varsity level, although they only have one head coach, which in comparison to girls and boys wrestling, they're actually competing interdependently or independent of each other, and they actually have independent coaches as well. So the total amount of sports at Rancho Cotati High School that we offer are 15. The total amount of teams is about 34. And some of those teams are actually coached by the same coach, and some of them have independent coaches. At Technology High School, we have 11 sports, and there's about 16 teams. It's important to note that at Rancho, we've added girls flag football, competition cheer, and boys volleyball. And at Technology High School, we've added JV girls soccer, JV boys basketball, JV girls volleyball, and varsity boys volleyball, on those. So we added 3 new sports on each side with each school. This is the offerings at the other 3 schools. So at Lawrence Jones, we have cross country, soccer, they have both basketballs, they have volleyball, wrestling, track and field, boys volleyball. At TMS, we have cross country, soccer, same with basketball, volleyball, track and field. They offer flag football at TMS and boys volleyball. And then at TPA, we have cross country, boys flag football, boys basketball, girls volleyball, and co-ed basketball. So the total amount of sports offered at Lawrence Jones is 7. The amount of teams is 14 with an asterisk, and I will go over that in just a second. The total sports at TMS is 6. Total teams this year was 13. And total sports at TPA was 4, and total teams was 10. The important note is that the amount of teams is dependent on student athlete interest and whether or not a coach can be found and apply. So if there's not enough for separate grade level teams, rosters are combined. For instance, for flag football, they may have a combo 7th and 8th, or maybe co-ed 7th and 8th. It all really depends on student athlete interest and our ability to retain and hire a coach. And then one last bit of data that it's important to note is offered at all 5 schools are the 4 sports cross country, girls volleyball, soccer, and basketball. The next slide is looking at participation data. It's important to note I took data from the past 2 years. The percentages displayed are based on current enrollment, and I did not include COVID numbers like early 20 and 2021, as small schools actually canceled athletics completely, so those numbers would be 0, and we've been rebounding in terms of participation since then. So it's important to note that 2022 and 23 was when we were returning to our baseline numbers, and now we're seeing growth in most, if not all, of our school sites. It's important to note Rancho did add 3 new sports, and so did Tech High, and that's why you see a little bit of increase there. And then it's also important to note that on TPA, I'm only taking from 6th and 8th enrollment, as though those are the active students who can participate in student athletics. It's important to note, too, that this data basically suggests that there's a high percentage of students at each school site that participate in extracurricular activities. And it's important to note, too, that the partnership between ADs and the district in terms of adding new sports that relate to student interest, holding student interest meetings, and communication is really how we're able to add these new extracurricular offerings to students. These are some highlights for each school. So the athletic director sent me this information. So for Lawrence E. Jones Middle School, both boys and girls cross country came in first place this year. For TPA, the 7th and 8th grade boys basketball team won their first 2 games of the season. Students supported their classmates by coming to home volleyball games and flag football games and cheering each other on. And classmates also gained skills and responsibility by serving as line judges and scorekeepers for home volleyball games. Technology Middle School sent me some awards that they received this year. So for boys flag football, their offensive MVP was Bodie Lefevre. Their defensive MVP was Mason Gallagher. In girls basketball, their offensive player of the year was Allison Guzman Gonzalez. The defensive player of the year was Sophia Ford. In girls volleyball, Amelia Benuelos was named team captain. And in boys basketball, Adrian Cost was defensive player of the year. At Technology High School, I mentioned earlier, we added 3 new sports: JV girls volleyball, JV boys basketball, and varsity boys volleyball. Girls volleyball won the league pennant in the fall. This is actually their 2nd year winning it in the row. Track and field has placed first in both boys and girls in the Coastal Mountain Conference for the past 2 seasons. And Josie Hill was a finalist in the NCS Cross Country Championship, and she placed 25th out of 200 runners at the state championship cross country meet. So that's the entire state of California for her academic level. Rancho Cotati, as I mentioned earlier, added 3 new sports: girls flag football, competition cheer, and varsity boys volleyball. Girls flag football won the first girls flag football game in school history versus San Marin, 8-6. And various teams and individual student athletes have made postseason and playoff appearances. One of the things I also wanted to highlight is this year at Rancho Cotati High School and Tech High School, we've benefited from the support and coverage of a certified athletic trainer in the name of Aaron Stovall. This new addition to both the athletic program has been an invaluable resource and provides extra medical care and injury prevention programs to our student athletes at the high school level. These next few slides I wanted to detail and kind of pick and choose a little bit of data that we can look at in order to support the fact that we are, in fact, providing these supports for our student athletes. So the first bit of data is we've actually received an award for having a comprehensive athletic trainer program here. The specific things that we earned for this award was creating a positive athletic health administrative system, which I'm happy to share with you in the next few slides, promoting a safe and appropriate practice and competition facilities, providing a permanent and appropriate equipped area to evaluate and treat injured athletes, developing injured and illness prevention strategies, including protocols for environmental conditions, concussions, and sudden cardiac arrest. Something worth noting is that our trainer uses a wet bulb thermometer, which is a device that she holds up to measure a combination of wind temperature and humidity to determine if safe and unsafe conditions are met. So if a heat index is high, or there's lightning, or a lot of humidity, we're able to cancel practice based off that device and technology. She also provides or facilitates injury prevention and intervention, creating and rehearsing venue-specific emergency action plans, including locating AEDs on campus for coaches, educating athletes and parents of the potential benefits and risks in sport. And we are in the process of Technology High School applying for the same award as well, as Aaron does cover both schools. Here's some injury tracking data I wanted to kind of show you guys. So we have something called Healthy Roster that we utilize to track injury data at the high school level. Basically, you see 3 charts in front of you. The chart on the left indicates injury type. So if we were to hover over these things using the website, we could look at what are the amounts of sprains, contusions, fractures, and other that are occurring at what rates. We can also see what type of body type of counts these injuries are occurring in. The injury account on the left shows the frequency. So as we started the year and we introduced football and other fall sports, the injury reporting started to go up. We saw a decrease in December, and that's not because injuries don't occur in December, but our athletic contests are less. So we have Christmas break or winter break. And so we see frequencies of injuries go down. And then when there's that winter and spring overlap that we're occurring right now, we see the injuries go back up. So it's been helpful to track these and kind of look at disaggregated data to make better decisions for our student athletes. This is a breakdown of 2 different athlete profiles. I've removed their names for HIPAA compliance. But basically, you can see a breakdown of the date in which this person was seen. You can also see the injury type. So it says a taping or finger. It says parent education, so we actually talk to the parent or guardian about injury rehab programs. And then it talks about where is the upper extremity, and then what was the problem type. Another bit of data is we took a full breakdown of August all the way to September, and this is a full run of essentially what is a football team. So you see a bunch of different targeted areas. Aaron is able to log when they in fact saw this individual, what kind of rehab did they receive, did they have to see further care from a doctor, and what follow-up care was provided to them. So by tracking this information, we can compare it to different years, see if the rates are up, and we can be more thorough in the provided care that we give our student athletes. This next slide is a example of the follow-up care that's provided to these student athletes. So they'll receive a boilerplate kind of email from this program, which goes to the parent or guardian. And depending on the injury, it gives them a specific rehab program that's meant to either strengthen or support the injured area, or rehab them or rehabilitate them in returning to the field of play. The last slide I had and last request from you guys was what the continued support for athletics can be. And I was able to kind of concisely put them into 4 different specific parts from each of the athletic directors in CRPUSD. One of the main points is transportation. With the limited bus schedules and parent drivers, teams are having increasing difficulty arranging for transportation to and from athletic contests. The stipends and pay rates for coaches, so payment rates should be revisited and reflected neighboring district pay scales to increase the retention and quality of coaches in our district. If we have higher pay scales, we're able to retain these coaches and track them from neighboring districts. Facilities, as each program continues to grow, space becomes limited. Finding ways to provide new spaces and or sharing current existing spaces will help our athletic programs grow. And lastly is funding for new sports and program expenses. For schools without boosters or additional sources of funding, it is becoming increasingly difficult to pay for all of the expenses, league dues, referee costs, and equipment. Before I take questions, I want to just thank everybody for giving me the time to speak to you today. It's an honor to provide you some insight into the athletic programs in CRPUSD, and I'm also happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Great. I have two questions. What's the breakdown of funding for how much the district provides versus how much the boosters provide? Just wondering what that would be.
So I can only speak for the high school level. I would have to go back to the middle school level to determine it. I know from history with the middle school, they used to have what's called the MSABC, which is the Middle School Athletic Boosters Club. And that used to oversee all middle school athletic operations. Since 2018, 2019, I'm not sure if it's still around, so I have to find out how middle school funds it. I do think that they receive some district assistance. Speaking for the high schools, we receive no district assistance. We basically generate our funding off of what are called admission or gate receipts. We charge people to attend games. And then from the booster support from both Technology High School Athletic Boosters and Rancho Cotati Athletic Boosters. They typically give us, Rancho Cotati Boosters, about $30,000 to $45,000 a year to help offset the cost of referees, officials, union, league dues, things like that.
Okay. So then the coaches, like if we were to look at the pay scales, the district doesn't pay for those coaches' fees. The booster clubs are paying for them.
No, the coaching stipends are actually in the salary schedule for coaches. That's negotiated at the district. So boosters does not pay coaches.
Okay, sounds good. And then for academics, there's a minimum requirement, right, to be on. What is the minimum requirement, and how does all that work?
So the minimum requirement for high school is a 2.0 GPA to be academically eligible. We do have, it's a board policy that a 1.6 or higher is actually waiver eligible. So students at the high school level at Technology High School or Rancho Cotati High School can use 2 waivers during their entire 4 years in their academic career. You cannot use a waiver in 2 back-to-back seasons. And once you use your 2 waivers, you're done for the rest of the year. So if a student gets a 1.67 or 1.83, they can implement a waiver, but the school counselor, the athletic director, the parent, and the student all sign off on it, and then they can become eligible to play, essentially.
And is the 2.0 their semester grade, or is it at any point? Like if I look at power schools right now and you got a 1.2, you're out. Like what's the mark date?
That's a great question. So each school, each high school, determines what's called a date of determination. So since Rancho Cotati and Tech High are both on semester and quarter schedules, that's going to be about halfway through the semester, essentially.
Okay.
That's going to be your reporting period. Now for other schools that are on trimesters like Cardinal Newman, Rio Carrillo, they're going to have a different date of determination. So it's up to the individual school to determine when the eligibility dates are determined.
Okay, so for our 2 high schools, we're looking at Q1, like the quarter grades. Like when
Correct.
progress reports and then report card.
Correct.
Okay, sorry, I said only 2, but I have one more. Does El Camino get to participate if any of the students wanted to?
I think Virtual Learning Academy does. I would have to double check on El Camino.
Okay.
I know in the past we have, but that's something I would need to check in on. But I know VLA we do allow.
Okay, I reserve the right to ask more later. No,
Most
just
definitely.
any other questions from the trustees?
I have 2, but it could morph into 3 also. First is, are there any sports that students are interested in but aren't happening right now?
Boys volleyball was that sport for the last few years, and now that there's been foundational support at the state level and section level, same thing with girls flag football. Now that there's a lot of teams offering that, it's a lot more feasible to put together. So boys volleyball was basically that sport. I do know there's been some rumblings about badminton. There's a local badminton league, and then we obviously have the gym space to support some badminton. So that's been talks of that. The other ones have been water polo, which is a little bit tougher to navigate without a facility. An adequate facility, but boys volleyball was kind of that focused one that had a lot of interest, but we didn't offer, and now we're able to kind of roll that out.
Do we wait for students to express interest, or do we survey them?
So we typically hold a student interest survey when we want to pilot a sport. So like girls flag football at the end of last year, because girls flag football is a fall sport. So in April or May, we held an interest meeting. Student athletes wrote down their contact information. Once we see an adequate amount at that interest meeting, we communicate that to the district. They'll ask, is there an established league? Is there enough kids that want to play? And then is there a coach that you can find? And once we kind of determine those boxes, they're able to approve a paid position for that coach.
Great. Another question. For students with disabilities, do you track their engagement in sports?
We do, yeah. So we provide a list to our coaches of students with IEPs or 504s, so that just like differentiated instruction is received by teachers, differentiated coaching needs to be received by coaches. So we make sure to loop them in on that information.
Great. Thank you. And
No
thank
problem.
you for what you do.
I got your questions?
Mark, do you have any questions?
Questions? You're after me. Okay. So you talk about gate receipts. So obviously gate receipts are football, basketball. I guess anything that you've got a gate on. When you do baseball or golf.
So it's only the enclosed places that we can charge. So even though baseball, softball is fenced in, we actually don't charge admission for that.
Right.
So we charge admission for stuff in Cougar Stadium and inside either gym.
Right.
So, and it is public perception is that and it's a fact that our number one funding source for gate receipts is football. However, that money is funneled back into every other sport. Football actually independently fundraises their own money. They fundraise about $30,000 a year, and then they spend all of that without relying on any ASB athletic support from our school
And so
side.
that funding, is that via snack bar? And kids will knock on my door from the football team selling, every year I buy those.
The Gold Card Blitz, yes,
Right.
That's what that is, totally.
Right, okay.
Yeah, multiple different fundraisers, dine and donate, gold cards, things like that.
Have we, I'm sure you've done online type of fundraising too, or, I had grandson playing baseball and varsity baseball on a team in the Bay Area, and I get a text and a pretty sophisticated way of donating and stuff. So anyway, you answered my question. You take the funding for the gate. Let's go back to everybody. We have a store out here so is that funding from the store where they're selling merchandise and the snack bar go all back to football?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So that actually goes all to Boosters. So Boosters operates the snack bar and the Cougar Den, which is where we sell merchandise.
Right.
And so that's how they generate the funds to give back to Ranch Cotati. So same thing with their crab feed. They run the crab feed.
Right.
They do different fundraisers there. And
Sure.
so that money is given to the school, and then we find equitable ways to provide it to different teams based off need.
Okay. So we have three types of coaches. We have teachers that are coaches. We have non-teachers, people from the community, and then we have volunteers that do coaching, correct?
Yeah, so we have on-site certificated coaches.
Right.
We would have volunteer certificated coaches who are non-paid, and then we would have off-campus volunteer coaches or off-campus
Right.
paid coaches.
Right. So I guess the question might go to John is what's our total budget for athletics? That can be answered later. Is it $1 million? Is it $2 million? Is it $3 million? And then me being a numbers person, it's like, okay, if we spend this much money, I believe athletics is great. I coached too many years of baseball with my kids growing up, and so what's the payback there? And then when you say other districts, comparable type of thing, it's the demand for funding is tough at all times type thing. And I understand if you take the total hours that a coach puts into coaching, as I look back to the 20 years of coaching baseball for three boys. You came from a three-boy family too, so it's a lot of work and a lot of volunteer work that goes into it. So thank you to all the coaches and all the volunteer people. But just, I don't know that we can. The funding may be different in different schools for coaches and stuff. And you can see in the county, where there are private schools that, I don't know if those coaches are paid more that have been there for, 20, 30 years coaching. There's one, I guess, retiring, is it out of Petaluma? Was in the paper?
The St. Vincent basketball coach? Is
Pardon
what you're
me?
talking about? Is this the St. Vincent basketball coach, John
Yeah,
Bonfield?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are, and there were coaches like that here at Rancho too, so Conroy and other stuff, so so I guess my question is, what's our total budget on,
Can we,
get back to us on that.
John, can we come back at a later date with that information? Thank you.
And that's kind of a hard thing to do, is, spend is, you gotta pay for all those facilities and we have beautiful facilities here, and just looking at this month's PG&E bill, back. I can remember when our PG&E bill was $60,000 a month, and now we're pushing $140,000 a month. So, I mean, this beautiful facility is nice, but it costs money to provide that, and whether it be a pool or equipment, and it's important to have good equipment and safety too. So.
Okay, one quick question. When it comes to Safe Sport, are the athletes trained in appropriate behavior, on and off the field, and the coaches too? I know that it's a requirement in U.S.
Yeah, so the coaches are required to take what's called the National Federation of High School Sports Fundamentals of Coaching course, and that goes over, fostering support inside and outside the classroom. It also goes over, there's a sportsmanship pledge that each student athlete has to sign, a behavioral pledge in the student athlete packet. So we make sure it's a case-by-case basis if a kid is, or a coach needs a little bit more mentorship, but they have basic required training that's required by the district in terms of foundations of coaching.
Great. Any other questions for Scott? Well, thanks very much for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. And good luck to all of our student athletes out there and coaches this year. It's very exciting.
Thank you again for your time.
Yeah, thanks. All right. Next, we have Monta Vista talking about MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support. Hi.
Okay, I was shown the. So first off, I just want to say thank you for having us tonight. It's an honor to be here and speak with you. I am the Assistant Principal and Program Specialist at Monta Vista, and I'm here with my colleagues. Christina Veach is our school psychologist, and I also have our intervention teacher here, Ashley McAvoy. Rachel Galdamez is our principal. She says hello and unfortunately can't be here tonight. She is recently recovering from a knee surgery. So we are excited to be here to talk to you tonight about MTSS. In education, we live in acronyms. MTSS stands for Multi-Tier System for Instruction. So Rachel and Christina were able to go to a conference for MTSS over the summer where they learned about it, how it's a model used in a lot of schools. So they were able to learn about it and collaborate and talk about how can we bring MTSS back to Monta Vista and what would that look like. So we're going to talk a lot tonight about MTSS and what we've been able to do at Monta Vista. And first I just wanted to highlight our objectives for tonight. We're going to start by explaining the MTSS model to you. Then we will describe the MTSS implementation at Monta Vista. We will show the connection to the LCAP goals, and then we will demonstrate the continued need for resources. So MTSS is based on a continuum of support for students. The first and foremost tier for students is how do we create systems that benefit all students. So looking at our school as a whole, for Tier 1, we have a few different systems where we are actively implementing intentional systems to reach all students, whether it's behaviorally or for academics. For example, for school-wide positive behavior systems, we have PBIS, which is a positive behavioral system that's used school-wide. We've been working really hard with our teachers and other colleagues at Monta Vista to really pump up PAW awards. And maybe you've heard about them. This year, with the help from one of our 5th grade teachers and some colleagues at Monta Vista, we've implemented a reward system with a really fun and exciting cart to just pump up our system, and we've seen great benefit from that. We have also had the honor and privilege to have our intervention teacher, who you'll hear from tonight. So we've been able to implement systems for instruction and to intervene in academics with intentional planning. So from Tier 1, we're looking at data, and we're also looking for feedback from teachers and staff members of where there may be a need for intervention. We have a system where teachers or staff members can use a Google form if they have a concern about a specific student, and then we are able to look at data and start there. Our leadership team meets once a week where we review the students that are being presented as possibly needing more of a intensive system for instruction. And then we also have standing meetings, which are called COST, where we meet with staff members once a month to also get input from them on anything they'd like to bring to the staff about concerns with academics or with behaviors where they feel like there may be a little bit more a student may benefit from with intervention. So we've been able to start up Walk to Read, which is really, really great for all students. It meets students where they're at. Each grade level has time built in their schedule where they have Walk to Read, where students are intentionally grouped and they walk to the type of intervention that they need. Some of the groups are large, some of them are smaller, and we're meeting students where they're at with what they need. We're able to see the great impact and benefit from this system after each intervention cycle, which is 6 weeks. We have data meetings with teachers and staff to look at what the data says and what's working, where we might need to improve things for students, and what we should keep moving forward with, and who might be ready to graduate out to a lesser intervention. So after we're almost done with at this time of year, our second round of intervention. So we're gearing up for some more data team meetings. And from there, we do have Tier 3 supports if we're seeing continued concerns with behavior, social emotional well-being, or academics. We do have further steps to intervene for students in our multi-tiered systems for instruction that may look like an individualized action plan for someone. For another student, it might look at if the student would qualify or benefit from special education services, and other students might need a lunch bunch group or some type of other counseling or social emotional support.
Hi, so as Lisa said, I'm Christina Veach. I'm the school psychologist at Monte Vista. On this slide, it is very small font, but you can sort of see on the pyramid, this is how we've tried to apply the MTSS principles specifically at Monte Vista. So this year we've worked really hard to make sure that we have programming and interventions at every tier, so that Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, and also in multiple different domains, so that we have a system of support for students with academic needs, social emotional needs, and behavioral needs. And so this sort of outlines some of the different curriculum, the different systems that we're using at these different levels in these different areas. And then, as Lisa mentioned, we have our COST team, where we review referrals from teachers weekly. And it can be a referral on any sort of topic, whether it's about their behavior, about their academic progress, about their attendance, about maybe they don't have enough food at home. It can be about anything, and it all gets routed through this centralized system, so that we can keep track of the needs for all of the different students that get referred to us, so that no one falls through the cracks. Like Lisa mentioned, our leadership team meets weekly to sort of get the intervention process rolling and try to connect the student with the right type of support. And then we also have these monthly meetings where teachers can come, other service providers, paraprofessionals, whoever from the school who has a student that they want to talk about, and sort of check in about their concerns, about where that student is in the intervention process, brainstorm different ideas from their colleagues. So those have been really positive. And then we monitor the progress of every student who comes to us through this referral process, so that we're not sort of letting anyone accidentally fall through the cracks. And so at the Tier 2 level, we are establishing a system where we typically track the students through 3 cycles of intervention. The first 2 cycles would be facilitated kind of by our school team. So that might be 8 weeks of intervention with Ashley for academics. It might be an 8-week counseling group to focus on anger management, whatever it is that's appropriate for the student. We do 2 rounds of that, and if the student still isn't making the progress that we would like to see, then we would schedule a student study team meeting to bring the parents in and try to bring more family involvement into the intervention process. And then if after that 3rd round, we're still not seeing progress, then we would be looking at some sort of more individualized process like a special education assessment or a 504 plan, an individualized behavior plan, something that's very specific and targeted to that individual student. The
Can I
goal
ask
with
a
all
quick-
of this
Can I ask
is
a quick timing question? Sorry, I want to make
Yeah.
sure I got that right. So you'll do 2 rounds of 8 weeks, and then that's when you'll, if things aren't changing, then you'll start an SST?
So part of the rationale behind that, which is a little bit different than what we've done before, is to try to expedite things. Scheduling is so challenging that to try to get all of these different people in the room for multiple SST meetings can sometimes slow the process down and bog down the intervention cycles. And so by having sort of our own school-based criteria for when we can introduce students to different interventions, we're able to work a little more quickly. So it's not that we're not wanting to involve parents in that process, but just that if there's a barrier for some reason to bringing parents into a meeting on campus, that we can still move forward with supports in the meantime.
But is it 2 8 weeks? So there's 16 weeks of things that could happen before a parent or an SST is scheduled?
There's always exceptions. So if there are certain circumstances that require a different process, then, we can always meet sooner or do another 3rd round of intervention before we meet. It's very tailored to the specific student's need.
Okay.
Okay. The goal with all of this is to have a process that's really systematic and really transparent and collaborative so that we can match students to the right level of support. And I really want to acknowledge part of what's made some of this possible this year that we've been able to do for the first time is some of the additional resources that we have this year. This is my 3rd year as the school psychologist at Monte Vista, but this is the first year that we've had an intervention teacher, which has made a massive amount of difference in the rigor and data that we have associated with our academic interventions. It's also the first year that we've had a consistent general ed counselor, so that we've been able to provide more counseling services to students. I am also very lucky as a school psychologist. It's pretty rare to be only at one site for elementary school. And because I am only full-time at Monte Vista, I'm able to work on systems like this and not just doing my special education assessments and things like that. So I'm able to contribute to the school community on a greater level. So I just really appreciate that this year, and I hope for that for every school site because it's made a huge difference in what we're able to offer our students.
So with all this information, we just want to acknowledge the LCAP goal alignment. It aligns with our LCAP goal 1, 2, and 5. The first one's to provide support, relevant, and rigorous curriculum. And goal 2 would be the implementation in a broad course of study that is meeting the needs of all students. And goal 5, goal to provide English learner and RFEP students with equitable services.
Hi, my name is Ashley McAvoy. I'm the intervention teacher at Monte Vista. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our program and what we do. We are an MTSS Tier 2 support. We have chosen these students based on their STAR tests, the STAR Math and STAR Reading. We have also based it on the Chlorophonics survey based on how their reading is developing, as well as teacher and parent input. We select 4 to 8 students for each group, and we meet 4 times a week for 30 minutes. so that we're able to do programs with fidelity. And those programs that we choose are research-based. You know, there's a lot of things available, but we have chosen some research-based programs, level literacy interventions, where I'm using with my 4th and 5th grade. And I also use SIPS, which is a phonics program for my lower grades as well. And I have seen amazing results with these programs. One of the things that's nice about intervention is we are able to create this little micro learning community. We have, you can see in the pictures here, we sit around a table so that we're kind of all equals, and we have discussions and we move along through stories and answer questions, and the kids get really, really into it in a way that they might not feel the comfort of doing in their own classroom, because there's so many students at so many different levels. And there's a bit of intimidation there. And here they feel comfortable working with kids that are at their own level, and they're able to make progress based on their confidence just soaring. We make sure that it's a safe space, that we embrace our mistakes, that we celebrate them, that we teach ourselves how to move on when we have a moment where we're not sure what to do. And I really feel like the students are changing. I'm getting notes from teachers that they're participating in class now, that they are getting 3s and 4s on their exit tickets, and just, just glowing in the classroom. So that's been really wonderful. As was mentioned earlier, we have data days. And so in about 2 weeks from now, we are going to all be meeting together, each grade level, with Christina and the administration and myself, to go over these the latest set of scores to see how they're improving, what worked, what's not working, do we need to change the program, do we need to move somebody up and out, and just make sure that everybody's needs are getting met and that they're in the right place for them. And I have had several kids move on out in the first round, and I'm going to have more leaving me in the next round, but that's a good thing. That's a celebration, and I hope that we can continue RTI and intervention at Monte Vista for many years to come, and it's been an honor being their intervention teacher this year. Love my job. All right, and unfortunately we don't have our students here, but we do have,
Okay. Got it. Okay.
February 20th through February 23rd. I hope you all enjoyed your President's Day off.
This week is also full of fun activities. On Wednesday, our TK classes will be coming around to do their annual Chinese New Year parade.
I remember that one. I really wanted to be the dragon, but I love that parade. Wait, what? What are you doing here? You're supposed to be behind the camera directing us. Well, no one really believes that I was working on MVTV, so here's your proof. Well, back to the shadows.
Okay, guys, back to the news. You might not have noticed that the principal has been rolling around school for the past 2 weeks. This week and probably next week, she is going to be out having surgery so she can get back on her feet.
We wish her a speedy recovery. Also, we really need to take pictures on Friday to send to Miss Galdames because it's Disney Day. Don't forget to wear your favorite Disney character. Now, we are going to listen to a message from a special guest. Go to the clip.
This is me, Alexander. I'm Golub.
And we want to keep the bathrooms clean and safe.
And make sure to flush the toilets.
And And make sure that you don't throw papers at the wall. And wash your hands good.
And don't forget to wash your hands.
Oh, no. We really need to be more respectful and responsible in the bathrooms. I don't like using the bathrooms when they're dirty. Make sure you leave the bathroom clean for the next person.
Let's move on to the next topic. This Friday, February 23rd, is bingo night. Join us at 6 p.m. with your Monta Vista friends and family for a fun night. Don't worry, guys, it's all free. Now let's go to a visiting reporter, Jamari.
Our March Around the World event is coming up on March 8th from 6 p.m. to 7:30. We will have exciting interactive stations where students can learn about different cultures. We will also have different culture food to taste and a special dance performance by a special dance group, Ballet
Folklorico.
Folklorico.
Uh-huh.
Will be performing dances from different regions of Mexico. We will also have exciting raffle prizes for students that fill up their March Around the World passport. Stay tuned for more information.
That's exciting. Also, on March 8th, dress as your favorite book character. I'm thinking about being the girl from Shadow House. What are you going to be, Javier?
I think I'm going to be Greg from Diary of the Wimpy Kid.
And that's it for MVTV.
That was very cute.
Okay.
Great.
So, I think that's what we have for today. Was there any questions?
Does anyone have any questions? Yep. Sounds good. So is this, it's probably more than a year ago, we had one of the Lawrence Jones teachers, I think it was Jill Finnerty, I'm saying it wrong, but so she came and did an MTSS presentation for us that she was getting a grant and doing the whole district-wide rollout. So is this kind of like, now we've seen it full circle, it's now implemented at all of the schools, or is this something Monta Vista decided to do kind of on their own and take the leadership for it?
I think that's a wonderful question. I'm not sure.
I can talk a little bit about that. I do think that there is a general push in the district to implement MTSS across different schools. It was the topic of a recent leadership meeting that the school psychs were invited to. So I think that that idea is definitely there, but I think schools are at different stages of implementation. I know for myself, Rachel and I being able to go to the MTSS conference over the summer really kind of fired us up. And so I think we've forged ahead in a more intense way this year than maybe other sites have been able to do because we were both so passionate about it, especially after going to this conference. So our system at Monta Vista might look a little bit different from what other schools are at and where they're at in the process.
Okay. And then how do MTSS and PLCs overlap?
It's all, all of the things are intertwined. So PLCs are part of the data review process that we use for MTSS. So the teachers meet, they set, goals for their students based on the areas of need, and then that data on whether students are progressing towards those goals that the PLCs have set is part of what we use when making like the groups that Ashley sees. So it goes into deciding what level of intervention students need.
Right. And then when you guys are pulling students out to do these interventions, if I need a reading intervention, am I getting pulled out at the same time that my general ed classroom is doing reading, or am I getting pulled out at a time that is convenient for the teachers, like the group?
So each grade level has their own time slot, so everyone is moving. Whether it means that I'm a student staying in my class for my intervention, and maybe it's for a higher level where we're asked to do project, or maybe someone else is going to a different room, but everyone's moving at the same time in their half-hour slots. We do have reading intervention times, and we also have time for math interventions.
We try to schedule it, but not time. So it's a good process of figuring out schedules to make it.
So is it just like when Monta Vista is doing walk to read, instead of going into, you know, I'm in Miss McCampbell's class, and instead of going into Miss Riddle's class, I'm going to go into your classroom because I'm going to be in this classroom? Is that?
It's both. So all the teachers at the grade level lead a group, and then also we're able to add into that a more intensive intervention group that Ashley leads, and then we also, our resource teacher often leads a group for students who have IEPs during that same time. So it's sort of melded together, but the idea is definitely that it is a supplement to the core instruction and not a replacement, that they're not missing anything, but we're just adding on more.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Alrighty. Item 6, reports and communications. For Technology High, we have Naomi Hernandez.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. As this year continues, we have done so many great events, and we are hoping to continue creating more fun events for the student body. So first off, we had our Valentine's Day Bears fundraiser by ASB. This is us having them, making them done. So for ASB to have events, we do fundraisers like these. So basically, we gave that opportunity to students to be able to purchase this adorable teddy bear that came with chocolates and also like a sweet note. And then if they wanted to have like, we had like a group of 5 students sing a song, Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars, and it gave them like a fun way. It was more of a showing like appreciation to the student body, and it was a fun way to engage with the student body. And then everybody just had a very lovely time. And then also for Valentine's Day, our spirit commissioner, Matt, he wanted to do something for the whole student body. So he took the time and had this like little cute cards that said Happy Valentine's Day that came with a kiss or a heart popsicle. So it was very cute and very thoughtful of him to do that. Next up, as we are getting back to the school year and we are getting tests, we're doing homework. So it's very, it's getting like a little bit stressful for us. So we like to do Wellness Week. And basically our focus for Wellness Week is to help students be a little bit calmer. So we do this by giving a little bit back to them. So first for Monday, if they come dressed up in their pajamas or just something that they're comfortable with, we'll give them hot chocolate or tea or anything that they would like. And then on Tuesday, we're thinking about giving like sort of a fidget like item so that it relieves their stress. And then on Wednesday, we have Don't Burn Out or Don't Stress. So teachers also, to appreciate them, they'll be getting some donuts. And then for us, we will be getting like this sweet messages to the student body. And then on Thursday at our student center, we will be having our movie where we're gonna give the student body some popcorn. And then on Friday, we're giving root beer floats, which students seem to really enjoy, and it's a very nice way to give back. And then this is our few ASB2 students, Willow and Lexi, who are dedicating their time and working on this project. And then also, blood drive was on February 6th. We had, as our population is a little bit low, and then many of them are not as able to participate because there are a lot of requirements. But for the people that do, we saved a couple lives, and then we gave them. Ellie organized this beautiful event where she had root beer floats and then pizza also as a show of appreciation and thanking them for donating their blood. And then next up, we have ASB elections. As this year is about to come to an end, we have to look for our new future student government. So our president held a meeting that specified any interests of students who are interested in being in the next year cabinet, which includes president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and public relations officer. And then our newest position, which is spirit commissioner. So everyone have already submitted their applications. And then as of right now, in the process of planning and decorating our election convention for our second year. Basically, an election convention is where there's a couple of students that are chosen and they get to meet their candidates more personal, and they get to understand, they share more about them. And then those peers, the classmates, have to go back to the whole student class and share more about why they should be voting. I can't wait to share more on that, as it's a senior tradition to plan this event. So it's very, as a senior, it's emotional seeing who's gonna be the next voice of Tech High. And then also our ASB had a couple of students and also ASB students had that opportunity to attend an ASB craft feed, and it's very beneficial for us because we also get some funding from there, and then it was nice. And then also one of our students, Eileen, is working with Sustainability Club. They're trying to plant 317 saplings, which it's a very good, they have a very sweet message. If you like more information, if you follow our Instagram account, you can click on the link and they will show their purpose. But it is also about, they want to do this so they're able to expand more on their on the carbon, the way, because our school uses these resources like energy. So they're trying to do this by planting them so they can not waste, for it to help that environment more than it is by wasting all of that energy that we do. So then as we move on to sports, here's boys basketball. Their senior night was last Thursday, and then here are more pictures. Van was able to attend to support. There was a total of 5 seniors: Tyler, Ricky, Nathan, and Andrew. And then here on the right, you're able to see how our basketball games have these fun interactions, and you're able to see the students are able to create these amazing memories by attending the boys basketball games or any basketball games or any other sports. And then here we also have our dance team. Our dance team tends to perform in the boys basketball halftime show, which is very nice, and it was very lovely to see. And then we also have girls basketball. This year they did not have any seniors, so they had no senior night, and then it's just they're playing right there. And then as earlier mentioned, we have our new boys volleyball team, which consists of all of these students, and then we can't wait for them to start playing. And then also, this is our senior class. We're starting to just say our final goodbyes, and our senior representatives are starting to create these new activities, like up in the mainly like in May. We're gonna have these fun events like senior sunsets and planning more gatherings together as the end of the school year is about to end. And then also, it was very lovely, our Tejas Drama Chicago, which took place here in the TAG building. They had 3 nights, and then one was almost a sold-out show. They sold about 550 tickets, and we'd like to thank Ms. Walters, who is our drama director, but she's also a teacher, English teacher, and she did an amazing job, and also all of the students that were involved, not only the actors, but the ones who were behind the crew, any light assistants or any sound. They were all there who put their effort. There was a total of 13 seniors, and they were all recognized because most of the seniors have been doing their 4 years of drama. So it was a very lovely. And there was, so for about each show, there was like 175 attendance. And then that's it. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thanks, Naomi. Very good. For Rancho Cotati, we have Samantha Petrie.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here tonight. Campus life. After last board meeting, we've had some pretty exciting events that we've planned and executed. First off, we had our 8th grade step up. 8th graders from Lawrence Jones, Tech Middle, and Thomas Page Academy toured the school by some of our student leaders. It was very interactive, going into many different classes, and especially our elective classes, where students were able to observe the classes in action, and they even got to bring back some souvenirs, like from our fashion design class. People who were interested in joining fashion design got to take back little bags that were sewn. We had our Spear activity February 2nd. It was well liked and got high participation. Our ASB class created a secret admirer board, so the student body were able to write anonymous notes and tape it during lunch and passing periods. All day, students were observing each note and writing ones of their very own. We also had an affirmation board right next to the secret admirer board, and students could take a positive note to keep or give to a friend. By the end of the day, almost all of the notes were gone. Our ASB class attended a leadership training all day, February 9th, from world-renowned motivational speaker and owner of Core Leadership Camp, Norm Hall. Our class were able to bond and bring back a new mindset to integrate into our school with new ideas. And then we also just produced our 3rd blood drive of the year on February 8th. We collected 10 life-saving units. February 7th, our ASB class hosted a commissioner's rush. Each commission set up a table to promote their position and what their duties were. And at each table, there was an application to fill out to join ASB. On top of that, every commission made a video of their job description to be posted on our Cougar report that gets sent out to the whole school. We've been taking applications since the beginning of this month and are excited to start interviewing for next year's class. Student and staff recognition. Congratulations to all of our athletes of the week. They've all performed amazing in their sport and are very hardworking. And then congratulations to our staff spotlights. These staff members work hard every day to provide an amazing experience to our students. Upcoming. Unity Week. Our ASB class have been working hard to produce this year's annual Unity Week. Today is our first day of presentation, so there's no photos yet, but there will be some at the next board meeting. And our last day will be Friday, February 23rd, ending such an amazing week with our assembly. There will be many presentations throughout the week. Some of them are the Story Project, Holocaust Remembrance, Japanese American History, Lion Dancing, Fencing, The Right to Dream, panels with our immigration students and foreign exchange students, and taiko drummers. We'd also like to invite you all to our assembly this Friday. It starts at 11:15, and there'll be many performances from dance club, bagpipers, drummers, and then we also have a fashion show from our leadership class, and they're all like students at the school representing their own culture. And then we have an Egg My Yard fundraiser. So ASB is holding a fundraiser next month. We'll be decorating our community's homes that have purchased any of our packages We'll fill plastic eggs with candy and hide them into the purchase yards for families to find on Easter morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty. Right, before we continue, we are going to take a quick 5-minute break. So we will come back at 7:20. 25. Trustee reports on activities. Trustee Johnson.
Well, thank you. Okay, so last week I attended, I'm going to use these acronyms. Don't ask me what they mean, okay? So IBB, which I know is bargaining, is the middle B for. I attended that all day, and it was lovely to be around so many thoughtful people. And then I was at the DLAC, and I know that's the language. The L is for language. So that was my first meeting, but I promise I will know the whole acronym next time I give a report. Thank you.
It's one thing the school system is very, very, they get an A+ for acronym usage. I'd actually give them an F for acronym usage because I think it's a little excessive, but there we go. Trustee Brown? Trustee Nelson?
There's a full semester, I think, getting your certificate.
In
And
acronym
becoming
usage?
Acronym proficient, yeah. I
It
think
might
so.
be on this. Is it in here? No.
Uh,
The most, okay, John, don't judge. It's not in this one, but the most beneficial page or section of the
glossary in the back.
the interim report, the huge one that we get, the last 3 pages are all the acronyms. It's the most useful thing ever. The rest of it is very, very useful as well too, John. But all right, Mark.
So last week, I think we had our LCAP meeting rescheduled. So we'll be doing that a little bit in the future. And then I was a little bit late, but I was also able to attend virtually the DLAC meeting. We had a very good turnout and parent and adult participation showing for that meeting. So that was really nice.
Trustee Martin.
I attended the budget advisory meeting, and it was very informative.
Oh, good. John told us we have all kinds of money.
Out of our ears.
Based on John's reaction there, I'm pretty sure you may have misunderstood.
It was interesting. There was a little gloom, but John started us on an exercise of looking at, if we had to cut, what would not be negotiable. Let's start with non-negotiables, and kind of got us set in the right track.
Great, wonderful. I've been continuing to go to is it Calamai or Call Me, or I keep Calamai. All right. So the Calamai meetings, which are wonderful. A couple of really cool things have come out of that, including the district-wide luau that will be happening in April. So if you haven't gotten your invitation, get your luau going already. I attended the second day of the interest-based bargaining training and workshop, and it was really wonderful, the collaboration that got to happen. I think my favorite part was they put us in the 2 different bargaining units, and the teachers got to play the district office staff, and the district office staff got to play the teachers, and that was fun for a little bit to negotiate some things. So that was always interesting to wear someone else's hat and see what's going on. I went to Chicago, which was absolutely, not the state, the play, which was absolutely fantastic. Those students did an amazing job, and thank you to everybody that was part of that. And sadly, I missed the budget meeting, but I got an update from the team, so thank you very much for putting that on. All right, superintendent's report, Maite.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So several things happened since we've been here last. We had a special ed roundtable, which was really, really well attended and lots of really great information. It was a collaboration between RIPSIA and the special ed department, and I look forward to supporting our special ed teachers and finding some potential solutions to some of the issues that they brought up. We also had, we know safety is a big concern for the board, so we had a safety meeting, a department meeting of our district office staff, and developing our incident command system so that we are prepared as a district to support school sites if there was a need. So we'll continue to work on that. We're going to do some tabletop trainings coming up in the near future. I also went to IBB training, and it was really, I thought it was really awesome and very exciting to have SEIU, CSCA, RIPSIA, the board, administrative staff all in the same space, and very excited to work together. Many site visits, Monte Vista, TMS, Evergreen, UELF. I went to the Love Show at Monte Vista, the Han read-in, and I also got to see Chicago, which was very exciting as well. Really well done. One of the We also walked precincts for Measure A. We submitted this community school grants. That was done this month. And we're starting to calendar for next year with the departments to make sure that we've been in kind of a reactive mode. We want to be proactive and make sure that we've got things and we're not stepping on each other. And then I think one of the most meaningful, impactful things that I did this month was I was subbing as principal at Evergreen one day. We have another principal who's injured. And there was a para that was needed in one of our SDC classes was down 3 paraprofessionals. So I went in and subbed in that classroom, and it was amazing to watch that staff work with that student population. And I was really, really impressed. And I've encouraged the cabinet to go and visit some of our SDC classes. So thank you. It's been a busy month.
Great. Thank you. For Roanoke Park Cotati Educators Association, we have Lisa Bauman.
Thank you. It has been a busy month.
I see you keep writing stuff on there.
I know, because I forgot about the roundtable. It's not that I forgot about it, but I, for some reason, thought that was in the last board report that I did. Well, good evening, everyone. Yeah, it's been a busy month. I think it started with the special ed roundtable, which was great. I think all of our members felt really heard and valued at that meeting. We still have a lot of hard work to do, but we tried to put our CalMai skills to use. It was very funny because we were all like, anytime we were at a transition, we were whispering to each other, now what do we do next? Like, how do we do this part? But it was good. It was all good. Everyone, I really liked the end where we circled up and we all just gave a word about how we were feeling, and they were all really positive. That was nice. And I also got to see Chicago. It was amazing. It was really like the talent and just, I mean, it was flawless. I saw the last show. It was phenomenal. Michelle and I were at that same one together. I also was at the IBB training, and I'm going to give you a little bit more detail for those of you who weren't there. So there were 2 trainers. We had Doug Freifel. I'm not saying his name right. I don't know. He's from the 3F Law firm. And then we had Allison Schweifler, who is actually a CTA listserv employee. She works down in Monterey. Okay. So they were our 2 facilitators, our 2 trainers, and they were awesome. So this whole premise of interest-based bargaining comes from the book called Getting to Yes, which I had heard of, but I didn't know about the connection. So, and it's about, the philosophy that successful bargaining depends on developing good, positive relationships, which is what we've really been focusing on since Maite arrived, and building that trust and building that rapport and that partnership. And that through that, we can all come out better than when we went in, instead of feeling like there's a winner and a loser. So we went, as part of the training, we started out just kind of working on different communication skills, and then we went into the IBB methodology. And what I really loved about the 2-day training is they took us through the whole process of using the IBB skills with something totally mundane. And then at the end, we got to practice it with something that was educational, but we had to switch roles. So we were the district, and the district were the teachers. And it was great because it was all really about thinking about what are your real interests? Not like, I want this, but like, what are we really trying to achieve by this conversation? And so I really enjoyed that. So you identify your interests, you brainstorm options, and there's no ownership to anything. You're just getting everything out there. You look at standards, so they could be industry standards, they could be surrounding districts, they could be ed code, things like that, and then exploring alternatives in the off chance that you might not come to an agreement. But it was great. So RIPSIA we're going through all of the articles that we sunshined, and identifying our interests and thinking about whether or not how comfortable we feel using the IBB process, because it's so new. And we got a lot done in an hour and a half meeting, but we're only about halfway through the articles because between the two of us, we've sunshined quite a bit, but I'm hopeful that we're going to get a lot of really good work done. And we have, I wrote down here, but I don't know where I got this. We have a tentative bargaining meeting with the district on February 26th. Is that what we decided today, or did I make that up? Okay, thank you. All of a sudden I read that and I'm like, I don't know where that came from. We actually successfully negotiated 2 MOUs, both for summer school. So we have 3 different programs if you really think about it. We have, here's some more acronyms for you. C, Summer Enrichment Academy, which is at John Reed and Rancho, or just John Reed. Credit Recovery, CR, which is at Rancho, and then ESY, Extended School Year, which is at Evergreen. And so there were a couple of changes to like the salary that was going to be paid and a couple of other different working conditions. So it had to go back out to the members to vote, and that closes this Friday at 5. And so we're feeling pretty good about that. It was a really good session back and forth. We've been doing our part to help out with Measure A. Went out there canvassing. I've been pushing lawn signs. We're getting teachers out there before and after school handing out flyers. So we really are crossing our fingers that we can get this through in March. We have our next CalMI meeting on March 5th, where we'll continue to work on the luau, among other things like our communication and our joint communication and just letting people be more aware of how we work with one another and how we communicate with one another. I met with Rachel Allen, our Director of Special Ed, and Jen Hansen. We met with all of the preschool special ed teachers. They're housed over at Richard Crane, and we were talking to them about their space issues and exploring some alternative locations for them. We're going on a little field trip to Labath in a couple of weeks. And then I have a bunch of little staff spotlights. So at Monte Vista, one of their most veteran teacher is starting a new tradition of classroom door tours for the holidays or special times a year. So teachers will decorate their doors, and then there will be tours of students, and they'll go around and visit the doors. So they had one for Valentine's Day, which I couldn't make it to, unfortunately. I was also unable to make it to the Love Show. I can only imagine how cute it was. And let's see, on March 6th, Han students are putting on a production of Beauty and the Beast. And did they already have their read-in? Did you say when? Okay, they had their read-in. TPA, Thomas Page, is in the beginning stages of a STEAM and literacy night that they're planning, and it's completely run by the teachers. They had a kindness week, I believe, this week. John Reed is starting houses, kind of like Harry Potter type houses, where they're going to sort students into 6 different houses and stay with a teacher leader for the remainder of their time at the school. And so those houses, they'll do different activities. So it's community building, social emotional learning. John Reed teachers they're doing, they called it rounds. To me, it sounds a little bit like a lesson study, but they're going around and observing each other for 20 to 30 minutes, and then afterwards having a collaboration session and getting feedback and asking questions. So a real nice extension of the PLC work that we do, just a different kind of professional learning community. As the student board member mentioned, we have Unity Week this week at Rancho. This is an annual tradition that Jessica Holman puts on with her ASB students. It's been going on since the early 1990s, and we're one of the few schools in the area with a comprehensive schedule of events. In years past, we've had upwards of 15 staff presenting and as many as
50 performing in various presentations. And the goal of the week is to break barriers and encourage a more inclusive society. And there's a whole bunch of really cool stuff. There's the Holocaust story, the Holocaust survivors, the Story Project, I think. And then we have, there's another group, Japanese American group, that the people that, you know, were interned. And there's all kinds of really cool guest speakers. My husband and I, we talk about our time in the Peace Corps, and it's a lot of fun. And the assembly is like my favorite assembly of the year because they have all the dancing and beautiful dresses and things like that. Let's see. UELF just had a friendship dance, and the DJ was a graduate from Tech High School. It was very well attended. El Camino high school students continue to help NOAA, the food pantry across the street. And Chicago is done, and now you can see we've got the new set out here for Heather's, and I'm not sure of the date of that. And that concludes my report, unless you have any questions.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. There's no CSEA or SEIU reports, so next would be receipt of official correspondence. And there is none. No public comment. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve items 8A through P?
Items 8A through 8P.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Educational Services, approval of 2024 LCAP mid-year monitoring report for the 23-24 LCAP. Mike.
Hello. This is a new requirement. During COVID, I believe there was a requirement to do a mid-year LCAP update, and they've returned that for this year as the last year of the old LCAPs.
Mm-hmm.
So this report is just the metrics that we had from our LCAP and the mid-year data where there is some available. But one of the things you'll notice if you look deeply into the data is that many of the measures are things that happened in the spring. And so we still have last year's data as the closest measure. But there are some things that have mid-year measurements that we've added in that new data.
Right.
Any questions for me?
Any questions about the mid-year report? No? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the 2024 LCAP mid-year monitoring report for the 23-24 LCAP? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Approval of school calendars for 2024-2025.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple of comments about that. So this calendar that is for your approval tonight is for the 24-25 school year. And there were some, first of all, I want to apologize to the classified staff. In our notes, we said that we surveyed them and we overlooked that. We overlooked surveying them, and our apologies to the classified staff. It was unintentional. Just wanted to make sure that was a public apology to them. We are looking to make sure that our graduations for our high schools are on the same day, and looking for that day to be Friday so that they can have project grad night that night. We know that they have to be the same night, so I just wanted to clarify that we'll work with the high schools on determining the best date for that, but just wanted to clarify that as well. And I think those were the only two clarifications. So we're asking for your approval of the calendars. They did go out to our RIPSIA staff, and there was a calendar committee. But again, we inadvertently overlooked the classified staff, which we will not do in the future. Thank you, Lisa. So Lisa's saying that they were on the committee, but they weren't given the survey. So thank you. Thank you.
One question. So school ends on a Thursday?
Yes. Oh, thank you for asking that. The reason it ends on a Thursday is that summer school, the turnaround for summer school is really tight. So that's why we're trying this earlier end date so that they have time to get summer school up and ready.
So is staff employed on Friday?
So Jen said that certificated and SEIU would be done that day on Thursday, but classified or CSCA would be in on Friday.
So that potentially could be a problem if you're moving everything to Friday for graduations. To
It
have
potentially
everybody
could
work
be.
that extra day.
Correct.
But we don't have a work calendar yet for 24, 25, right? Is it voluntary for them to come to graduation right now? Or
There's
is
a
it
there's
part
a
of their
lot to
work
put on
calendar?
graduation too. I mean, for everybody. So you kind of, if you end Thursday, you got to do graduations Thursday. Yeah, I see a problem in pushing graduations to Friday when everyone's off on Thursday. I mean, everyone to set up all the chairs and the maintenance and the takedown and. Pardon me? Oh,
Jen,
yeah.
could you come up?
Or I need a better hearing aid.
So just for the audience at home, our RIPSIA president said it's already volunteer for teachers to come to graduation.
Yeah, and then just to comment on like the setup for graduation, this was actually a request from Josh from maintenance to give them a little bit more time to get the facilities ready for summer school. So his staff is all working on that Friday. It's actually easier for them to do it when it's not a school day. But really the question is, and this is our experiment with this for next year, is to see like, do we have enough teachers coming, to the graduation? We'll see. We were hoping to push it to a Wednesday end date, but we just couldn't make it work with the calendar. But it's a big undertaking for our Summer Enrichment Academy and also extended school year to be able to turn our programs all around and be ready to go the following week. Because we've added additional days, like Juneteenth, that has taken up. It basically has extended summer school to be longer. And so what's happening is, because we have a year-round calendar, we have this very small window of time where we can wrap up our summer programs and then be ready to start year-round instruction at Richard Crane. So
my question is, if you push graduations to Friday, does that give everyone else, do you lose a day and then you can't, I assume summer school starts Monday? Yes.
Was it Monday?
Are we losing a day and then you don't have a day to prep for summer school?
Summer school isn't starting on the Monday, but we have our teacher work day. Is it Tuesday we're having ESY and summer school start? I'm talking about for the next year calendar. Yeah, we're hoping to just be able to start that earlier so we can wrap up earlier.
Okay.
So there's no break between the regular school year and then if a student does summer school, they just like leave school, now Thursday, and then come to school Monday?
They get a couple days off, if that, and then they come right back. Yeah.
And how many students are in summer school?
So we have our summer programs, and then we also have extended school year, which is special ed. So I don't know if I can't, between 500 and 600 in the Summer Enrichment Academy, and then, or total. Yeah, so a good amount of kids. So again, we're
like
trying to
1%.
squeeze it all in before Richard Crane comes back, and also allow, our teachers to have a summer break as well. So we're gonna.
And there are other districts that like school ends on a Thursday, and then, like you were saying, Petaluma has graduation on Saturday.
Petaluma, I think they end Thursday, and they have Petaluma High has their promotion Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's definitely done. I think it happens. It has happened from time to time in Santa Rosa too, where it's not always the Friday, and then graduation that night. Sometimes they end on a Wednesday. I know traditionally for us though, we've always really tried to keep it to the Friday, except last year or the year before, I can't remember, we ended on a Wednesday, and that was not great. Because we had graduation that night, and with grad night,
Project Grad, it was a little complicated, what I've heard, but I did hear we also got volunteers too, so I'm not sure how big of a deal it was, but for
I
us,
think
we're so used to having it on Friday that it feels really different for us.
Yeah, and I think if you do a graduation on a Wednesday night, that's for people traveling out of town. That's a lot of days of off work, or
Yeah.
no one wants to graduate on Hump Day. That's like an anticlimactic day.
The problem is if you set the calendar and people look at the calendar and say it's, you know, some people do this. I mean, you end on a Thursday. Well, guess what? We're going on vacation on Friday. And then if you move graduation over a day and then for relatives traveling in the middle of the week, and just trying to accommodate everybody is hard.
Yeah, I mean, like Lisa mentioned, we do have a calendar committee. We met, I think, 3 times this year.
Right.
And it's, there's about 20 people on the committee, various roles across the district. And there's a lot to balance when you're making the calendar.
Right.
And we also have to really try to stick as closely as we can to Santa Rosa City Schools because of our shared busing with West County Transportation. So the other thing too is we really like starting on a Wednesday. It's a short day for all of our schools, and that, it's a nice easing in for the kids and for the staff. We also tried to provide a few, we're taking Cesar Chavez holiday this year, so that adds a day. If there's a leap year or not a leap year, it's really just kind of a balance of trying to make the whole picture work. Graduation is obviously a really important part of that, but it's more than just the day that we end when we're making the whole calendar.
And on the calendar, it actually says that graduation might be the next day. So I think if you guys do decide to do that, we just really need to make sure, because people are used to graduation being the last day of school in our district anyway.
Yeah, and it is it's 15 months away. It's far off. So we were hoping that, the high schools were going to talk with their staff and see which day they wanted to do it.
So my request would be that the high schools do graduation on the same day.
Okay.
Please.
I've made that request.
I see that Tech High is doing it the same day. Graduation.
Yeah, as part of the committee, they had requested that it be on Thursday because that was their last day of school from the teacher and the principal that are part of the committee. But since, the board is requesting that we have it the same day, that's what we'll do.
Yeah, so the ranch said the 5th or 6th too. On the calendar, it's confusing to me because it says July 2023 and January 2024. Should that be 24 and 25 on the calendars here?
Yes.
In the column, am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. It
Okay.
should say 2024, 2025.
Okay, so they just need to be changed.
Okay, yeah, thanks for
Okay,
letting me
Are we
know.
going back in time?
It's
I'm getting
I asked
dizzy.
Are
people
we
to
doing it
check
over?
my work, and we still always have a little tiny thing. So yeah, I'll take a
no
look at it,
problem.
and we'll probably we can bring them back to you guys for ratification too with the actual graduation date too. So we'll make that other correction.
That'd be great.
Yeah, my apologies. It's one of those things where you stare at it for so many hours, and then it's just
No problem.
it just all becomes one. So.
And then the professional work, so TK through 8s would start on Thursday the 8th, and then there'd be a professional development day for everybody on Friday the 9th. So teachers would come back on a Friday, basically?
It depends on if they're TK through 8 or if they're, so the TK through 8 teachers come back one day earlier than 9 through
Thursday.
12 because they have their two teacher work days are right at the beginning of the year because it takes a long time to set up an elementary classroom. And then secondary, Tech High has has just one teacher work day at the beginning of the year, and then their second one is right before winter break so they can do their grades. And then Rancho, because they're on the 4x4 and they're looking for more balanced semesters, their second teacher workday is in January. So that's why Tech High and Rancho have slightly different calendars as well. That was the main purpose of the survey, to be honest, and that's why we really only sent it to the teachers, which was an error. But it was really just, do you want calendar A or B? It was looking at the professional development days, which the classified staff aren't involved with. we were looking at having them all at the front end of the school year or spreading them out. And then the second question of the survey was, do you want, if you're from Rancho, if you want balanced semesters or not? So it was really more just looking at the teacher needs with PD and also with their semesters. Because we were, like I said, we're pretty limited on how much deviation we can have from Santa Rosa.
And then this, like the board approves it, and then each of the union partners will take it back to their unions. Is that, no? Okay.
No, it's just the committee and then up to the trustees to approve it or suggest any corrections that we can make.
Are there things that you want us to look at?
No, I think just the solidifying what day graduation's going to be. Anything else?
And we'll correct the year as well.
Give it, put the summer school calendar, kind of just everything ends on June 5th. So
right.
If they included that as well, a June calendar.
Yeah, we haven't generally included that as part of the whole school calendar, for the school year, just because not everyone participates in the summer programs. But, we could potentially look at doing a separate summer calendar for our for C and for ESY. That's basically what we do through our MOU process. It's not an actual calendar, but we spell out the dates in that, and those will be hopefully coming for your ratification at our next one of our March board meetings. Like Lisa said, they're voting, and that's going to wrap up this Friday.
I think it would help for us to have a summer school calendar so it can help tell the story of why we're making the changes we're making.
Yeah, happy to do it.
As well as like what Lev said about people planning, looking at the calendar to plan if it's not there.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Cool.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Can I get a motion to approve the school calendars for the 24-25 school year?
All motion to approve?
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Approval of technical support manager job description.
So A, or 10B and 10C are tied together. We have one of our technical support folks has been working under a different job description, and her job was not matching what her duties were. So we wanted to make sure that the job description aligned with her duties, and we revised the salary schedule accordingly.
Great. Any questions? We'll just put any questions on B or C, the support manager job description or salary schedule. All right, can I get a motion to approve 10B, approval of technical support manager job description?
Move that we approve 10B.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Can I get a motion to approve CSEA salary schedule revision?
I move
I get
that
a
we
sec-
approve the salary schedule.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Approval of provisional internship permit at Technology Middle School.
Yes, we have a teacher we had an 8th grade science teacher resign, and we have a teacher on a permit, and we're asking for your approval.
Any questions? Can I get a motion to approve the provisional internship permit at Technology Middle School? I move. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. There are no business and operation services, board services, fiscal update and planning.
I have a enrollment update for the end of January. We ended with 6,168 students. We had 56 enter the district, 3 from private schools, 30 from out of county, 10 of which went to Rancho, 7 John Reed, and 6 at TPA. I just thought that was a big number. 13 within the county and 10 others, so that was a total of 56 entering. We had 48 leave, 11 to private, 18 to out of county, 11 within county, and 8 other. net gain of 8 students from the prior month. I actually have, I have a fiscal update that I provide in the packet if there are any questions, but I did want to answer Left's question from last month, which was about how much does COLA affect what percentage of our revenue, and it's 93% of our unrestricted revenues is affected by the COLA, and about $5,200,000 of our special ed revenue is affected by the COLA, which is 76% of the revenue that we actually receive, but it's only 23% of the revenue of the special ed budget.
So if you add those percentages together, give me a number. Can you do that? I'm gonna put you on the spot, or
it's about of our current budget, it's about 76
million.
Yeah,
Okay.
77 million.
So if you look at it this way, 77 million last year was 8%, close to about 6.5 million. This year,
The difference was
of about 5 million less this year. Thank you, state of California. I mean, that's why it's difficult to run a business when your income, it's like getting a cut and pay. Virtually, it's like the days when I worked at HP, and it's like, okay, we're all taking a 10% cut and pay so that we can, not lay anybody off. So it's tough.
All right. Any questions for John about enrollment or budget updates?
Did you say 8 or 18? Additional. I thought you said
8.
8, right? That means more students.
8 addition.
Yeah, I thought
plus.
I thought I said 18. 8. 8. Okay. Good job.
Great.
I see them out there chasing kids down. Hey, come
to
join
our school. They're cool. All right. Approval of Resolution 2024-11, Women's History Month.
Thank you. So March is Women's History Month, and we're asking for approval of this resolution.
Excuse me. All right. Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2024-11, Women's History Month?
I'll motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Roll call.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson, Trustee Wing.
Yes. Approval of Resolution 2024-13, Art and Music Education Month.
Yes, so art and music education are so important to our students' education, and we wanted to be sure that we were highlighting that this month and asking for your approval on this resolution.
Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 2024-13, Art and Music Education Month?
I'll motion to approve.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Aye.
Trustee Nelson,
Aye.
Trustee Wing.
Yes. Just out of curiosity, what was Resolution 2024-12? We went from 11 to 13. You can tell me later. Oh, okay. Right, I was just wondering. All right. D through I are second readings of board policies and administrative regulations. Are there any questions on D through I? All right, here we go. I make a motion to approve the second reading of BP and AR 0460 Local Control and Accountability Plan. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I make a motion to approve AR 1220 Citizen Advisory Committee. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I make a motion to approve BP and AR 3400 Management of District Assets and Accounts. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I make a motion to approve BP 5116.12 Involuntary Student Transfers. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I make a motion to approve BP and AR 5131.2 bullying. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I make a motion to approve board bylaw and exhibit 9321 closed session. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Acceptance of gifts and donations to schools and district.
Alrighty, so we have a $300 donation from Oil Stop to John Reed for their outdoor education. We have our large donation from Grayton of $643,000 $921.86. Oh my God, I couldn't read the number. And that's from Grayton Casino. And for Richard Crane, we have a donation from the Cotati Park Rotary Foundation for $280 for their Peace Bowl. And from Veterans of Peace for $140 for the Richard Crane Peace Bowl. And the boosters at Rancho Cotati made a donation of $10,000. The total is $654,641 and 86 cents. So a huge thank you to all of our donors, and we recently submitted a report to Grayton. So very grateful for their support. Thank you.
Great. Any questions?
So I have a question. So tonight we heard about the boosters funding or the money coming to the school, and the school decides that. So the Rancho Cotati High School monetary donation from, is this the boosters giving this, or is this the high school? What part of the cycle is this? I'm just curious. I mean, does the money build up in their bank account and then they transfer it to the high school and then, to one fund and then it's distributed? Because it looks like this is going to RCHS, that Rancho Cotati High School.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to
What
me.
I heard tonight is they take those funds and then they distribute them.
Distribute them.
So I'm confused as to, I guess I'm getting in the weeds here, but I understand what part of the cycle this is.
I think what we need to do when John comes back with a report on the finances of athletics, that we include the boosters as how that works, so we can help answer those questions. Because I think that we probably have more questions along those lines too, as to how it all works. So we'll have to have some collaboration with the boosters to understand their system. And we can answer it then, or I could try to get it answered before then and let you know.
Yeah, I'm sure the boosters are great people, but it's just, if there's large amounts of money being collected, to make sure that those organizations have controls to make sure that that they're watched properly and not improperly, and don't want to hit the paper of somebody. Because Project Rad, unfortunately, a few years back, had an issue.
Yeah.
And other agencies throughout the county. So I just want to make sure the controls are there too.
Yeah. And I think we'll talk to the boosters. They're good partners with us, so we'll try to understand how their system works. So we're all clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve acceptance of gifts and donations to schools and district?
I move that we accept and approve 12J.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Future business and agenda items. We're going to go backwards this time. Trustee Martin.
Pass.
Trustee Nelson.
I think we're just waiting for that safety survey.
That's a couple
results.
months out though, right?
Yeah. I'll be watching for that.
We're going to do a student panel to collect some data and gather some more information.
Great.
Yeah.
Trustee Brown.
No.
Trustee Johnson.
I thought you said Nelson,
Oh,
sorry.
I thought I said Johnson.
I thought
Okay.
you said Nelson too. But
Oh, sorry.
No, it's just the sun. We just heard the sun, I guess we're bad. I would like to look into land acknowledgement in our business meeting. I was looking at Santa Rosa City Schools, and I kind of like their analogy of why we should do land acknowledgement. So I just kind of like to visit that.
I'm curious, what do you mean by land acknowledgement?
Where we talk about the first peoples on the land
Okay.
that we reside on.
Great.
I think we are investigating that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what the procedure was. I had suggested.
Yeah, we're
something.
checking into how it works,
Mhm.
who should do it, how other districts
Do it.
operate. Yeah.
Thanks.
So, thank you.
Great. All right, we do not need to go back to closed session, so the meeting's adjourned at 8:10.